everyone, this is Malika and Audrey and welcome back to another episode of Let's Unwind.
This is season 2, episode 6.
It is, oh my god, we are almost midway through the season.
I know, fascinating, huh?
Yeah,
Very exciting.
I hope you guys are having fun so far. We're having tons of fun.
I know, we've talked to about like 5 guests now, and I think from every episode we have learned very different things. And
Yeah, and all those guests were like from different parts of the world doing different things,
different backgrounds.
different backgrounds.
It's honestly like just eye-opening, just talking to them.
Oh my god, eye-opening.
What it is.
Yeah, it is very fascinating, you guys. We've had tons of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're recording episode 6 with a very, 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 very dear friend. I actually met this guest. It's been a year, I think.
I know.
It's been a year. It's been a year. I met her at another networking event. I know it's been a lot of networking events, but they're a great place to meet people.
I know, I should go to more networking events.
I actually spoke to this guy for like I think hours at the place about everything, literally. And we just got up and she's here today with us. She is a mother, owner of an accounting firm, owner of a tourism company, and just so much more. And
Very interesting lady. I just had a lovely chat with her for the past half an hour, and she's got a lot to say.
I know, and we're very excited to uncover her journey today on Let's Unwind.
So let's welcome her.
Yes, please welcome to Let's Unwind, Cindy Tan. Cindy,
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
of course, how you feeling?
Good. I'm feeling really good. Excited
So
to
good
be
to see
here.
you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah, it's been. Where did you guys meet? I forgot.
We actually met at a networking event. It
We
was
did.
4 seasons.
It was 4 seasons in. Is it Tower Bridge?
Tower Bridge,
Yeah.
and I was invited by my client at my old company, and that's
yeah.
how we met. I think we just spoke for like 3+ hours at the networking event.
We did. We kind of like
Yeah,
went
we
to
said
this
hello.
room and then we just sat down and talked for 3 hours.
Yeah, we said hello to like a few people. We were like, yeah, let's like talk to us. Like, let's like talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
We just went to a bar. We just sat down and just spoke for 3 hours.
Wow.
And I told her my life story.
She did. She's got a very interesting life story.
Yeah, but
yeah.
my career, my relationship.
Everything.
Wow, you guys bonded.
We did bond.
Yeah,
we
we
really
did.
did bond in that 3 hours.
And then we stayed in touch, and then I
did.
met her for dinner at an Indian restaurant she wanted to try.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, it was like in November, October, like when I was in my notice period.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Where was this in your place?
It was Vauxhall Chowki Thani. It was like
Yeah.
you have a plate and you get authentic food.
Yeah.
We went there with one of our friends, like long ago.
I don't remember.
What was it? Is it like Rajasthani food?
Rajasthani, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was
Because
Rajasthani.
Because I went to India.
Yes, you went to Jaipur.
I went to Jaipur and I mentioned like this place that I went to, and then she took me to this restaurant. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. So
Yeah,
good.
she had just gone to Jaipur or something. Let me like take you like good Rajasthani food in London.
Yeah.
That's when I took her and we like spoke. And then
Yeah.
I'm seeing her now because I'm leaving for Dubai, which is like lovely.
I know. I'm so sad.
You can come visit.
I will. I will.
Perfect.
That's sweet.
No, but like I'm so excited to have you on this podcast because like even though like I know you personally, there's just so much that everyone can learn from you and like your journey. And I think I ask her so many questions whenever I meet her for dinner. I'm like, how did you do this? How did you figure this out? Like tell me the secret. She tells me everything.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I want everyone to know what she told me, so that's why I'm very, very happy to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of
Honestly,
course.
Thank
So-
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, from our brief conversation and from what Malika tells me as well, you know, you have your own accounting services business
I do.
and you have your own tourism business as well, right?
I do.
Like what Malika introduced at the start of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to run us through, like, how did you end up to where you are today? What was your journey? How did all of that turn out, you know?
Okay. So I did my A levels. I didn't do well, and I didn't really have much choice. And you know, so I'm from Malaysia, right? Originally.
Audrey's very happy.
very happy.
Homeboys from Malaysia.
Neighbors.
I know. I don't have a lot. I don't actually have a lot of friends who are Singaporean or Malaysian
Oh
here.
really?
Yeah, so like I'm
Ah.
always on the lookout. In fact, I think there was barely any Singaporeans in our school or
No.
university.
Seriously?
Yeah, so I was kind of like a
Oh.
little black sheep. I had to just go out of my comfort zone and like meet people of different
Like myself.
No ways, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
If it's not Singaporean, then someone in the Asian, like expand my Asian geography.
You know what? I'm
friends.
actually a member of SUCA, which is like a Singaporean UK association.
Really?
Yeah, come join us.
Oh my god, yes.
There you go,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, please. Okay, we'll link it up.
We'll link it. Yeah, we'll link it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So how did I start? So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, if I'm honest. You know, when you're 18, you don't really know what to do. And it's very different to the kids who are brought up here, because here they get a lot of chance to explore different things. But when you're from Malaysia, you don't, right? So when I was 18, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then, you know, but if you're from an Asian family, you're either a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or accountant, right? So
Yeah.
accountant is like the bottom of the pile. So anyway, so I became an accountant because of, you know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But luckily, I enjoyed the profession. Not so much the compliance bit, but I also do business advisory. So business advice, what's business advisory? That's like goal setting, forecasting, cash flow, helping clients to understand the numbers in their business. So those are the things that I do and I enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really lucky that I managed to find a profession that I fell into a profession that I grew to enjoy. But I've got two girls. So I've got a 24-year-old and a 20-year-old.
That is shocking.
I know, she
Aw.
doesn't look like a lady with two year-olds at all.
They're so nice. But anyway, because I didn't know what I wanted to do growing up, I was really determined when I had my children that I want to make sure that when they apply to university, at least they know what they wanted to study. At least have a good idea. So throughout from when they were so my first one, we traveled for the first time when she was 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah, but the second one, we started traveling when she was 5 weeks actually.
5 weeks.
5 weeks, yeah. So we traveled for the first time when she was 5 weeks. I took her to Malaysia, it was like a 13 hours flight, but it was good because she was such a small baby.
No crying whatsoever.
No, she was really good, because that's the worst thing, right?
Yeah.
When you're I shouldn't say that. But you know what, when I was growing up, I used to remember, like each time I get into a plane, when you see someone carrying a baby, you're like,
You're like,
oh,
yeah,
listen
like, bless me right now.
to me,
Yeah.
right? And then,
Yeah.
but when you have your own child, you're like, oh, please don't cry. Yeah, it's like the opposite, right?
Yeah.
But so I was really determined that I wanted to make sure they understood. So we did a lot of traveling, because for me it's really, I felt that through traveling I learned a lot,
Yeah.
and I thought that would be good for the girls, as for my girls as well. So we did lots of traveling, and then we really enjoyed it as a family. And then when they wanted to, so they kind of have a good idea of what they wanted to study. So then the journey started with which university to go to, right? So then the journey started again, like visiting different universities. And what I discovered is you can have two children from the same family, but have got very different needs, different wants with regards to university. So I'll give you an example, right? So my first one, when she was looking to university, she went to Imperial.
Yeah.
Can I name names here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so she went to Imperial.
Very proudly. As
Yeah.
an Asian mom.
But she hated it, and she didn't want to apply to it. So she didn't want to apply. She's like, I hate the place, like, I'm not going to apply to it. So she didn't apply.
Okay.
So my second child, when she was going through the same process again, she's like, oh, big sis didn't apply for it, so I'm not going to apply for it. She hated it, I'm sure. I'm bound to hate it as well, right? So, and then the pandemic happened, and then she took a year out. And then she decided, then like, why don't we just go visit? The doors was opening again, they had open days, so we went to Imperial. And she loved it, and I loved it. Not that it matters that I loved it, but she loved it. And she applied and she got a place. So, you know what? Two girls, right, from the same upbringing, doing the same course even, but just different ones. Yeah, so off the back of that, I started my travel company. So it started off as an educational travel company, because I felt it was so important for kids, one, to travel when they're young if the parents can afford it. Secondly, it's so important to go visit universities before you apply to university.
100%.
Each university is so different. I mean, you guys have been to university, so you know what I mean, right?
Of course, I didn't get to like come because I come from India. So like for me, like
Yeah.
even going outside of India was like, oh my god, like everything I ever wanted. So like the idea of like coming here was when I got in.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even dream of like doing open days. But at the same point, I didn't even know there was a thing called open days.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm from Malaysia, and I knew that no one knew that. Like back
Yeah.
home in Malaysia, I don't know about Singapore or India.
There's a few open days, but then again, like in Singapore, we all three best top 10 universities are in Singapore, right?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
also depends on which
so-
part of the country you're from, right? Like.
Well, Singapore is just that small. It's
For
that
me,
one
like
part.
a lot of people knew. I come from a small town, so I did not know. Just to clarify, I'm not
Yeah.
Indian about like people know. I just did not know.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like this is so I didn't really knew the journey. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be different. And I didn't go to university because I did the. So after A levels, I didn't go to university, but I did the LCCI route, a diploma route.
Okay.
So I became a chartered accountant, right? So as a chartered accountant, you can go through either a diploma route or you can go to university. So you can go to university, do 4 years, and then do your chartered exams, or you go through the route of taking a diploma and then do the chartered. Yeah, so that's what I did. So I didn't go to university, so I didn't really understood that each university would be different. And like a very good Asian mom, I was looking at the rankings, right? When you apply, and then until the time when they went to the university, I'm like, oh my god, each university is so different.
Yeah.
And I mean, so what we do is we curate trips for kids and their parents to come to a UK university, like 5 different universities. So we've got Edinburgh, we've got Oxbridge, either Oxford or Cambridge. You have to go see them. And then we've got Southampton, we've got Manchester, and we have got I think Swansea.
Swansea University.
Yeah. So all the universities, I feel that it's so important, and each university is very different. Yeah. So that's so we started off because of that,
Okay.
and then I do a lot of networking because of work. That's where I met the lovely Malika, and and I realized that I really enjoy interacting with women. So I started curating all women trips. And this year we're branching out to young people. Yeah, so we're
when I was
curating
telling
trips to
Audrey,
young people. Yeah.
before you came, like you will find Cindy in like different parts of the world at all times. Like, one time she'll be like, I'm in India, then she's in San Francisco, then she's in some
Oh yeah, I
part.
do like
I
traveling.
have confidence. I'm like, you really had a passion for traveling.
I do. I love
And
traveling.
then you saw a need because your kids went to college, and that's how the company came to life.
Yeah, exactly. So I really want to get the message out there to parents that there are things that you could do to help your kids, because you hear of kids who come over and they're not enjoying the journey, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's because they're not in a place where they feel comfortable or they're happy about. And also another good thing about taking a child to a university is that when they like something, they will work harder for it.
Yeah.
And I discovered that when my girls were doing their 11+ exams. So do you know what 11+ exams is?
No.
So over here, when you do your primary school,
Yeah.
before you go to, so there's 3 types of secondary school
Okay.
here. So you can either go to private school, or you can go to like a normal state school, or you can go to what is called grammar school. So a grammar school is a school where you have to sit for exams to get in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So like the elite, this kind of special elite schools, or
Oh wow, you sit for exams to get in.
Okay.
So it was through that journey actually when I went through looking at secondary schools. I thought, I wonder if it's the same for universities as well. And I realized also that by going to the secondary schools with my girls, the ones that they really wanted is the one that they really worked hard for, because it motivates them to want to get to the school, right? So it's the same with university as well. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, and that's why I started the educational travel company. Well, the company is called Elevate Tours because it started off with Elevate Educational Tours, but because we branched out to
Women
different things
and
now,
then young people.
exactly. So now it's just called Elevate Tours. And then- yeah.
You're living my dream life, like
Oh,
traveling,
really?
everything. Like I always dream of traveling a
Yeah,
lot, and
yeah.
in my previous job I did travel a lot for work, and I
Yeah.
absolutely loved the traveling part, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really, like, you know, it's just such a good way, like you said, to really see different countries, different cultures, and then it's
Yeah.
also a good way for, you know, your children or yourself to, you know, kind of understand whether this is a city that you want to grow up in or you want to see yourself settling down. I think that's such a good, traveling is such a good way of doing that for you.
Yeah.
It also like builds up so much character in my mind. I think like before like I came to London, like up until like 2 years ago, I thought like traveling is more like trying new food places or like just seeing countries to like tick it off your bucket list.
Yeah.
But when I actually started traveling in its truest sense, I realized that you see so much of the world that you have so much perspective now that you can think about 10 more things because you've seen 10 more things.
Exactly.
So it builds you as a person. I've said this so many times that my friend told me this, like if you are interested, it makes you interesting.
Yeah.
And because you're interested in so many different things, you're an interesting person all the time. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
want to work with interesting
That's
people.
really true, actually. I didn't think of it like that.
There we go.
See, you learn something new every day. But it's really true that when you travel, it really opens up your eyes to different
100%.
things. Yeah, and I think you also find a passion for different things as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Malaysia, so I love eating, right?
We are
you
loving
guys-
it.
There we go. We've got something going. So the first thing I do is that I try to go find a place where lots of locals go to.
The food
Yeah, the
The
places.
food places.
Yeah.
I mean, I love eating. Yeah, that's my. When people ask me, do you exercise? I'm like, no, I don't. And the most exercise I do is like, you know, like feeding myself. My arms are quite muscular. But yeah, so yeah.
Oh, that's really, really cool. And how because you travel so much, right? I mean, your children, your daughters
Yeah.
are grown up now, so I believe that, you know, you allow them the time and, you know, for themselves.
Yes.
But like growing up when you're in the midst of, you know, like creating your businesses and doing this tours and traveling and networking, like how did you manage to balance that time between your family and, you know, all the traveling that you did as well?
Yeah, so I when the kids were young, we traveled as a family.
Right.
So I didn't do like solo traveling.
Okay.
It's only in the last 2 years that I started solo traveling because my girls are in university.
Okay.
But before that, we used to do family
trips?
travels, family trips. This is why also Elevate Tours, we also do family trips.
Okay.
But also, what I realized is that I always think of traveling as an extension of what they learn in the classroom. So I'll give you an example. When they started learning French at school, we'll take them. We did a lot of trips to France.
I
And
love that. That is
yeah.
so cool.
Yes, and we'll take them to like the markets, and then we're like, okay, go buy a pint of strawberries or go buy some blueberries. They have to speak French, right?
I mean,
Because
yeah,
because
yeah.
we tell them there's
Yeah.
always. And I remember like my daughter during her I think standard 6 or year 6,
Yeah.
their end of year project was come up with something that's got to do with France.
Oh.
And everyone was like building models of
Eiffel
Eiffel Towers or
yeah.
whatnot, and then we took Celine to France, and she did a whole video of her talking to a French person buying something from a market in French. Yeah.
Imagine, because she had gone to France so many times. She had a lot more than the obvious picture of what people typically France has.
Yes.
I love that though.
It creates it creates a unique perspective about, you know, like what you know already.
I do that for my kids now.
You can do that for your children too. Yeah. But you know, I only did that because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 18 years old, and I wanted to create lots of experience for them so that they could explore different things. You know. Yeah.
No, that's actually a really good. You just enlightened me. You know, everything.
Oh yeah.
No, I think like because it's such a unique way, you know, traveling. Of course, if you can afford it, but I think like it's such a unique way of really. I never really I saw traveling as like leisure, right? Like you get to you like meet new people, you meet new cultures, but I just never thought of it as a way that you can actually enlighten your children to create a better, unique perspective.
Or just yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's just so interesting. You know, traveling can do that.
Yeah, and also like the people that you meet when you travel,
Yeah.
you have no idea what sort of opportunities that could open doors for you.
Exactly.
So I'll give you an example. So last year I went to New Delhi, right? And I met this guy, right? And we started talking, and he's like, oh yeah, like then I found out that he owns a university. I'm like, oh, okay. And then as we continue talking, I found out that he also owns a hospital, a private hospital. So my eldest daughter is now in Johor doing her elective for a whole month with him.
Imagine.
So you never know who you meet and what opportunities, and not just for yourself, but also for your surrounding, right? Your
Imagine, like,
circle.
I told my mom, I'm like, can I have something like that?
I'm sure you get other things from your mom that my kids don't get.
No, this is true. Like, I think you meet people at the most randomest places, and like, if you stay in touch and if you actually bond, like, things can change. Like, I told Audrey, like, I've met people on airplanes, I've met you at networking events, I've met people like on my line to like get my luggage from the train, like trolley and stuff. So, but like, just on that, because I know that I have met you and we've had such a good conversation, and that was nothing in terms of what you do. We just talked about us and who we are, right? And I just want to talk to you about your approach to networking and like, how do you approach networking? Because a lot of people like, I get very scared when they think about networking, that they just do not know how to approach it.
Yeah.
So
what I'll say is this. So I'm a real introvert. I know it doesn't come across because everyone's like, you can't be introvert. I'm like, no, I'm introvert. Trust me. Like growing up, I hate talking. Like I'll be the one in the classroom that like barely talks. In fact, when I was growing up, the only time my parents would know that I'm angry is because I'll just get up and I'll walk out and I'll look, like stand at the gate, right? And that's the only way they'll know that I'm angry. I don't voice ever. But but then you know what? Networking is a skill, and like all skills, you can learn, right? You just have to go out and speak to people. I mean, people are generally very nice.
of course.
And as I grow older, I also realize that, like, look, just be fearless, like, be bold, do whatever you want to do. I mean, what can anyone do to you, right? Shout at you, so you forget him or her, right? It doesn't really matter. So just be very fearless, I think. Just go up to people, speak to people. With regards to what to speak about, read a lot, so then or travel.
So you have so much more.
You have so much more to talk about. Just like you say, right? Like the more you travel, the more interesting a person is. Just like, okay, if you can't travel, read. So I mean, and people are just generally very nice, I feel, right? Like
I agree, and I feel like a lot of people that I spoke to, like, because I go to a few networking events myself, and like they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't go there with the idea of selling something. I genuinely love meeting people, and I genuinely just want to have a good conversation. A lot of people go to these events to want something out of them, and that's why it doesn't work for them. But if people just go there with the idea of, I just want to know about you and what other people are doing with their lives, like, then their perspective changes a lot. And then you can literally just go and be like, hi, like, I'm this, like, this is what I do, like, what do you do, like, what do you love doing?
What you just said plays into, I keep saying, I've been reading this book.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh, my book.
So like when I'm down, I like to read books. And like those like self-help books. But there was this one book that I picked up recently. It's called
The Courage to Be Disliked.
The Courage to Be Disliked.
And
I've been going off about it to her.
Oh really?
So it goes off about psychology, a form of psychology that not psychology, philosophy that talks about like if you want to be happy and if you want to be able to be free, you need to it's all about being part of a community, contributing, but not seeking recognition. Philosophy aside, that goes into your saying where like when you go into these networking events, right? You be there because you just want to meet people. You want to put yourself out there to see new people, do new things, and potentially maybe contribute to someone else, but not seeking like something in return. And that's how you make the meaningful connections.
I think it's give. First you give, like don't worry about the take, and like that take might come if you need it. But like I went to another event and like this lady, she's called Bola Soul. She's like a finance advocate or something. I don't quote me on that. But she mentioned that a lot of people go to events and they say, what do you do? Like, that's the first thing we ask. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what do you do? Which I think is fine because that is perspective.
Yeah.
But a lot, like, very few people ask, what do you love to do?
Yeah.
Or what's your favorite thing to do in London? Or what do you like to eat? It sounds so stupid, like when you think about it right now, but like if you actually go and ask someone like, hey, what do you love to do? Instead of, hey, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like it just adds to such a
Huge difference,
conversation.
isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. But what you say is so true, actually. I mean, what you both say is actually very, very true.
Yeah.
I do go lots of networking, and I won't say I'm good at it, but people actually say that, oh, you come across as an
Genuine.
extrovert. Yeah, that's because, like you, I go to events because I really like to know people, right?
Right.
Like if there's someone that I see that I'm really genuinely interested to,
Mhm.
like Malika, I would just walk up to you and just ask you about like what you know, what is it in your
Yeah.
life, and just knowing you as a
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
rather than I'm trying to sell you something, for example.
Yeah.
And that's why I go networking. So I do a lot of networking, but only because I'm genuinely interested in meeting new people. Yeah, not to sell.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we didn't even talk about like what like her business was
No,
up until
not at
like 2
all.
hours in. Like we just
Yeah.
talked about like everything else.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And that's why I told Lottie before you came, like she's one of the most genuine people that I've ever met at a networking event, and that's how we actually connected.
Yeah, thank you. But you know what? I went to an event last week and someone mentioned that, oh, Cindy, well, not to me, but to my hostess, like, Cindy's a very charismatic accountant.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, why does he say that, right? Because I'm quite a curious person by nature. Like, some call it nosy, but to me, it's
Yeah.
I'm wanting to learn, right? So anyway, so I started Googling, like, what makes a person charismatic? And it came up, like, there was this nice article that was like 9 things. And I went through each one and I thought, okay, yeah, that sounds a lot like me. But one of it is that they are genuinely interested in people. Like they're present when they speak to someone. And yes, I am present because I am genuinely interested. But if I see someone that I'm not keen on talking to, I won't go up to the person
Right.
without sounding rude. But,
That makes me
but
happy.
but that is not
Honored.
No, but you know what? You go to a networking room,
Yeah.
like you go in and you look around the room, and
Yeah.
some you are attracted to, and some you're not, right? Because not everyone is for you.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, yeah.
You know what I actually learned from this when you just said this?
Yeah.
Apart from your book, maybe this is on your book as well, like maybe, but like I think very few people can take in compliments.
Yeah.
Like not a lot, like whenever like if someone says, not to me, but like somebody else, like, oh, you're charismatic, or like you're looking so pretty, like they might not feel about it themselves that they are that way.
Yeah.
They might just brush off the compliment or just say thank you, but not think about it.
Yeah.
Very few people actually be like, yes, I am charismatic. Let me look up and see what it actually means.
Yeah.
Look at the list and be like, yes, I am one of those things. And it takes so much of confidence and self-assurance to actually accept compliments
Yeah.
and be like, yes, I am that.
I mean, I have to say though, that did not, like, I was not born with that.
Of course,
Because you know what, I'm like us women, right? We are from a society where you're like, okay, yeah, you need to be humble. Well, anyway, in Malaysia, like you have to be humble.
Yeah.
Like you mustn't be, okay, you mustn't talk about yourself all the time, obviously.
Of course.
But you know what? It's important for you to know your worth as a person. To own your worth,
Yes.
to own your self-worth, and know that if someone says something nice about you, to just go, thank you, receive, right?
Of course.
Yeah, just receive it. But a lot of us, definitely for me, when I was young, we're like, oh no, you don't
Yeah, I
need
know.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I learned that from my younger daughter. She is very confident. I don't know where she gets it from. But it's like if you let's say if you compliment her, she'd be like, oh,
Of course.
stop it. Oh yeah, but don't stop.
That's a very good phrase.
Continue. But she's very confident, and I learned a lot from her. But she loves herself a lot.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You need to love yourself before you can love someone else.
Oh my god, we were just having a conversation.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I love myself too much. She doesn't love herself.
We
We're balancing each other.
Yeah, I was just telling her before you came actually that growing up I've had very very low self-esteem about myself.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, like when I came to London, I think it's really a whole process. Within the last 2-3 years, I really grew to learn how to accept certain parts of myself
Yeah.
in terms of like attractiveness, the qualities that I have, and it's still a work in progress. I'm not gonna lie. There are a lot of days where, you know, like I still doubt myself, you know, but I think that goes for some people or most people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just telling her, I say like, you know, I really want to love myself better, and I really want to put myself first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very important. You know,
Yeah.
you need to put yourself first. That's really, really important.
Yeah.
Because until you love yourself, you cannot love someone else, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm also on the same journey. Like, you need to, you don't want someone else to validate you.
Yeah.
You want to be able to validate yourself.
Exactly.
And the only way you can do that is if you love yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of things happens when you love yourself.
I know.
Yeah, and then suddenly you feel more attractive.
Yeah.
You feel more like, oh yeah, you know what? I'd like you to have me. You know what I mean?
And you attract a very different type of people as well. I think you attract a lot more when you are
Confident. Yeah. You love yourself.
Yeah.
You know your worth.
Yeah, I think what you feel inside comes out as well.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, so just bear that in mind too.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a
Work in progress.
A work in progress, I have to say.
But it's good that you use the word work in progress, because all of us are work in progress. No
Yes.
one ever get to that level, go, okay, yeah, I don't need work anymore.
Exactly.
Because if you get to that level, you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what now?
What
next?
now? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you will always be a work in progress, right? All of us actually.
I know.
Yeah.
I think we talk about the same thing as well. I think like in our 20s, especially when there's so much happening to us, we are like, oh my god, like everyone like who's like at 30 or 35, like they have their life settled out and they have their job and they have their family, everything's working out for them.
Yeah.
And we feel like losers, and we like compare ourselves to a lot of people our age as well sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think we forget that everyone, we do not know what's happening behind closed doors, and everyone is having their own struggles they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So
That's so true. You know, I'm reading a book at the moment. It's called, I think it's called Easier to be 10x than 2x.
Okay.
Okay, so I read
Very
something.
interesting.
Yeah, I read something today, and it says that a lot of us, we look to the future, and sometimes when we look too far to the future, it devalues what we have achieved. So what we need to do is to look backwards and have a look at what have you achieved so far. Because once you see that you actually have achieved a lot. So say for example, right, like your mom prepares a meal for you. You go to a table and you go, oh gosh, you know, this again. I'm not, you know. But instead of like thinking about, oh okay, there are kids out there who hasn't got food or whatnot, and you just devalue the whole situation, right? The whole meal and all that. Well, if let's say like you think, oh, okay, yeah, there are kids out there. I'm fortunate because I've got food and blah blah blah. And you feel good, right? Because you feel that, oh, I'm blessed.
yeah.
And I don't know if you guys practice gratitude.
Yeah.
If you do, if you don't, do. But it's so good because it just makes you think that you're so grateful, and when you're grateful, that's when things happen for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I actually talked about this on one of our previous episodes in the previous season, which was there was a period of time where a friend told me that I needed to start practicing gratitude.
Yeah.
Because I was in the midst of just not understanding what I wanted in life. You know, I didn't know what I wanted out of my career, what I wanted out of myself, what I could do. So I was feeling all these like very like massive emotions, and that was affecting the relationships I had around me. So somebody told me, he said, you need to sit down, just every morning write a list of 10 things you're grateful for. And I've never practiced gratitude in my life before. So there was a morning I woke up, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write down 10 things I'm grateful for. And then I couldn't even get to the third thing, and I just started breaking down.
I was going to say 10 is a lot.
I didn't expect that.
I only do 3, and that's
That's the
typical.
validation there right now.
I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't even get to the third thing, and I wrote down because like at that point, I couldn't find anything to be grateful about because I was just so in despair, you know, that I was like, I cannot. So I do what I like to do best, which is take a walk. Malika knows this.
Yeah.
And I took a walk, and then I went to Embankment. You know the bridge from Embankment to Waterloo.
Yeah.
And I just it's a beautiful bridge, yeah. And I walked it, and then I just looked at the skyline, and I was like, That's one thing. I'm in London, and that's all I have to be grateful for. Like none of my friends would imagine themselves here in my position here today, you know.
Exactly.
And I'm just very grateful that I get to be in London, live a life that I want to live in London. Even though, yeah, sure, some things are going bad, some things can be improved.
Yeah.
You know, everything's a work in progress, but I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so important too. And then because of that, like you start practicing gratitude a bit more often as well.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I only do 3.
Very good.
Even that is difficult. Like
Yeah.
some days I find it very difficult to even think of 3 things.
Yeah.
So it could just be a roof over my head,
Exactly.
you know, food to eat. You know, I've got company that I run. I've got a good team. I've got a good team in place.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple things. I think sometimes as humans we put so much pressure. We feel like we have to achieve really big things before we can be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, else it's just little things, right? Like, yeah, you're awake, you're alive, right? You're breathing. So just simple things. But practicing gratitude is such a big thing actually. It's a huge thing. Yeah, because when you're grateful, you feel grateful, you feel good, right? And you can also then pass that on to the people around you as well.
Yeah.
It just makes the world a happier place, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah.
I told you, I was not feeling very well this morning, and then I went home and I practiced gratitude. I wrote in my journal 10 things. 10 things. I hit 10 things.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
Don't have much going on right now.
That's the Singaporean attitude. No, but look, you don't have to put so much pressure on you. I mean, I went to a networking thing last week, and I met this guy, and he's only 27. And I'm like, oh, you still have like a lot ahead of you. He's like, no, I don't, because I don't have I still got so much to do. I've got job to think about. I've got like family to think about. You know, my mom is asking me about, you know, getting married, but I can't get married because of this or that. I'm like, my God, you have got so much pressure. Like, you put so much pressure on you.
Yeah.
Well, all you have to do is just do one thing at a time. Just do one thing at a time.
A step at a time.
A step at a time. Just have like an overall goal, but don't be so rigid about it. You know, just ask yourself, what do you want to do in 10 years time?
Right.
Or what sort of lifestyle you want in 10 years time? And then just go backwards, and then just be very fluid as well, right? Like if let's say things don't work out, fine. Another door always open. Yeah.
Have you ever faced that in your life before? Like,
I have. Many times. But I'll give you the big one is that, so we went to live in Australia. So I've got this obsession about living in Australia.
I know all the Singaporeans and Malaysians have this obsession.
Oh, is it like a country thing?
I feel like all my Singaporean friends right now, they're like, I have a Singaporean friend right now. Her dream is to live in Australia.
Oh really? Why? Why did she want to live in Australia?
I don't know. She just said, I love Australia.
Has she ever been?
Yeah, she's been like so many times.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I wanted to go live in Australia because for a very silly reason actually. So I've got, you know, my girls were very young at that time, and you know I was working really long hours, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm tired of this. And I remember that I was working with this guy who's from Sydney, and he's like, oh my gosh, London is so hard. Like everyone's just rushing all the time. I'm like, yeah, it's true. And he said that, oh, you know, in Sydney by 6 o'clock you're by the beach. I'm like, oh yeah, that is the lifestyle I want. So I thought, you know, I've got like this thing in my head that, oh, it's gonna be great if we move out to Australia. So yeah, we started the process of applying for permanent residency.
Oh my God, you actually went for it.
I really went for it. Okay, that is me. Okay, when I put my mind to something,
You go for
I
it.
go for it, and I do it properly.
The Asian way.
I do, yeah. I do it properly. I don't like kind of like do it halfway, like go for holidays. No such nonsense. I do the whole
Straight
thing.
in.
Straight
I
in.
am the residents. You're not go with
Yeah,
see.
no.
I'm
So
moving
I'm
in
just
that.
applying for it. So we went through the process of applying for it.
Okay.
And then we got out there,
Okay.
and then I realized that okay, you can be at the beach at 6 o'clock if you don't have kids, if you're not in a high position, like you know, I don't mean like high, but you know, you don't have a lot of responsibilities. And yeah, for me it was a very very different lifestyle. My goals were like first one in before school care, last one out of after school care.
So
yeah.
you did go to Australia.
So we did, yeah,
You
we
tried it
we
out.
went.
Oh,
Yeah.
you actually got the permanent residency.
We got the permanent residency. And with Australia, if once you get a permanent residency, you have to be there in 3 weeks to stamp your passport.
So you had to like move everything.
Oh, so we didn't move it. Okay, I wasn't that mad. So, but we did go over like the first 3 weeks after getting the papers, and then like a year later we moved out there.
So you were there for a year.
We were there for 18 months.
Wow.
So your company, you were like, was it like doing it online or how was your company?
No, so I didn't have my firm at that time.
The accountancy.
And so I didn't have my accountancy firm. So this was many like 15, 20 years ago.
So you're still like in a company.
So I was an employee.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we just kind of like went out there. We literally went out there without any jobs or anything.
Oh.
No school for the children.
Wow.
No
Just because of the
job.
beach by 6
Just
p.m.
because of this be at the beach by 6 p.m. thing, and I thought it's gonna be fine.
That's
But okay, but that
amazing.
is me, right? That is me.
I love that.
I'm this is what I mean. Like you have to be fluid.
Yeah.
Like you need to kind of think about what you want to do,
Of
and then
course.
just be fluid. I mean, Australia was never in the plan. Okay, it's only because of this 6 p.m. by the beach thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. So anyway, so we went out there, but it was not the lifestyle that this other person has mentioned. So I think from that lesson, what I've learned from that is what works for someone else might not work for you. So like, don't talk to someone who's got like this big dream or lifestyle and you think, okay, if I do the same, it will be the same, because your lifestyle is different, right? Your circumstance is different. You're a different person.
Yeah.
So don't put the pressure on yourself. Just be fluid.
Right.
Have a kind of like a general idea what you want, you know? Yeah, and be a good person.
How did you find a job in Australia? Did it take you a while to get a job in Australia?
Oh no, it didn't. It didn't. But that's the thing, like, you know, sometimes like when in your mindset, you just think,
You
oh yeah, it's fine. I will find a job.
Yeah.
So I was very confident I would get a job. I don't know why. And I just thought, oh yeah, I will get a job. Like, it's not going to be a problem. So we
Yeah.
just went out there, had a really good 1 month. And I thought, okay, I have to go back to work now. And then, yeah, within 2 weeks I got a job. But I think it's because of my mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're so scared of everything all the time, then that
Yeah.
shuts a bit of doors for you.
Yeah.
as
And if you're
well.
very open about like, I want to move, I want to get a job, I'll just get it done and just
Yeah.
like do it.
And I find that that's life, you know. Like if you tell yourself that, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. You're like, because then you're focused, right? Your energy is full. You know, there's a phrase that says, what you focus on is where your energy goes.
Yeah.
So like when I thought, okay, time to start to look for a job, I just went for it. Yeah.
That is motivating me right now to do a lot of accents and you have no idea.
Yeah, but seriously, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. I think like I think the young generation now, you've got so much pressure.
Pressure cooker, we are literally.
Yeah. Don't think about, oh yeah, I've got to get married, I've got to do this, I've got to get to a certain level at this career level by a certain age, because you're just putting a lot of pressure on yourself.
It's just
Unnecessary.
it's really hard, I would say. at
Yeah,
our
it's very
age,
hard.
Oh, is
like,
it?
Not to
Yeah,
like
Oh, why is that though? I don't understand. Is it peer pressure or what is it?
I think society has been that, like, it's very easy to say don't ignore society and like do what you want, right? When you see a lot of other, like a majority of society, like following the same timelines as they say, as everyone has been for the last bazillion years.
Yeah.
And you see your peers having boyfriends or relationships and like having a job that they love, like you feel like they are what they were destined to do. And if someone takes like a different path like us, like it's not easy because it's not the most easy, well taken common path that people have taken on before.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of like proof of concept.
Yeah.
And that is when you're like, okay, I don't have a partner, or I don't have a job, or I don't have this, and like, am I doing something wrong here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's lack of support in that area because not a lot of people are doing the same thing as you are.
Right.
It's a very unconventional way what we're doing.
And
Yeah.
still not very common, which is surprising.
Oh yeah, a lot of our friends, I would say, like I wouldn't say all our friends, but the people I talk to or the people around us, they rather stay in a job that they dislike, for that stable income, than leave and pursue what they want to. even though it's going through the hardships.
I mean, some of them do love their jobs,
Oh,
right?
some-
And I think a lot. We're too young to even say that because like I have only had 1 year of corporate life, and I'm only 23, so I graduated like last year.
Mm.
So like it's difficult to say like what our friends are doing, but like what I said was like mainly people in their 20s in general,
Yeah.
like mid 20s, late 20s, like not mostly like our friends, but like everyone
Yeah.
around us.
Oh yeah, people
And
around
then
us.
and then coming from an Asian family, again I can speak for myself. Like I am an Indian, so like there is society about like, oh my god, you'll probably get married in like 5 years, and you're like, oh my god, I want to find a guy in 3 years before that, so I can spend so much time, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, and I think I asked this so many times before that how did you find what you love? Like you have passion for traveling and you made it like a career. And I'm like, I do not really know. I enjoy so many things.
Yeah.
In your 20s, it's difficult to pinpoint where you should focus your energy.
Can I be honest? Like, I didn't know that I didn't start my travel company.
Up until like
until in my 40s.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was only through so before I was traveling, but my focus was not on I'm passionate about traveling. I was traveling because of my children,
Yeah.
because I wanted them to explore different things,
Mm.
so that they know what they wanted to study, right? So it's based on my experience when I was 18 that I wanted them to do something
Yeah.
different. But it was only through in my 40s I realized that actually I do enjoy this and this is my passion. Yeah, so so the travel thing is a fluke, but
Yeah.
even accounting is a fluke because like I said, I fell into accounting because I didn't know what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this business advisory side of accounting that not many people know about, or not many accounting firms provide.
Yeah.
That I realized I really enjoy it. But the reason why I enjoy it is because it goes back to my core, which is I enjoy meeting people,
Right.
and I'm very curious as a person.
Yeah.
And so, like, because I'm curious, when I look at someone's books, I don't only look at their books. I look at, what do they spend on, or which restaurant do they go to? Oh, is this a nice restaurant? I do. I learn so much from my clients, honestly. Like I was like, oh yeah, this looks like a nice restaurant. It's quite expensive. Let's see what have they eaten.
Oh my god!
That is how nosy I am. But that makes me good as an accountant, because when I speak to my clients, I not only talk to them about their numbers, right?
Yeah.
I talk to them about the restaurants that they go to, just
Essentially their
different
life.
things. Their life,
Yeah.
yeah. Because my passion really, like when it comes to accounting, is to help to create an impact on my clients,
Right.
to help them grow.
Mm.
So for me, it doesn't excite me when I just do their books, right? It doesn't really excite me at all. What excites me is when I see my client grow
I see.
in their business.
Do you do personal accounting or do you do business accounting?
So I do business accounting and personal accounting.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So in accounting, you got two types, right? You got compliance accounting, where you just do like your accounts, the boring bit, right? Like bookkeeping and all that.
Yeah.
And then the interesting bit is when you talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, about like what are your plans? What do you intend to do?
Yeah.
Oh, let's do some forecasting. Or what's the cash flow like?
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the interesting bits.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's interesting
Yeah.
because your core was always very clear to you, which was meeting people.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
everything that you've done has that bit involved, no matter if you do not like some bits of it. I think that's
Yeah.
one mistake that I potentially make. I want to do something. I want my job and every part of that job to be loved by me, which is not how it
Yeah.
works in the real
No, it
world, and
doesn't.
that's why I will never be happy. But if
Yeah.
I know that my core likes this one bit.
Yeah.
I can find that in multiple jobs, try all of them out, and find what I really want to do for
Yeah.
myself, and like do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, life is all about trial and error.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
people are lucky enough to find what they're passionate about from the get-go, or already know what they're passionate about and then get into it.
Yeah.
But I think most people do fall into the I don't know where I'm going kind of bit, and then they just see as it goes and goes with the flow around it.
Yeah. I don't think many people know what they want. I mean, definitely for my generation, when I ask them like, did you know what you want to do when you're 18? No one knows.
Really?
No one knows what they want to do.
Even now, no one knows what
Yeah,
I want.
no one knows what they want to do.
The generation has passed that.
Yeah, we don't know what we
But
want
it's
to
only like when you look back in hindsight. It's only now that I'm talking to you, I realize that my core is I enjoy meeting people.
Yeah.
Mm,
And it just kind of like flows very nicely into my life now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
just realized now actually talking to you. So thank you. Yeah.
But how did it become from that introvert, right, who didn't talk in school, to become somebody who really like who ends up liking meeting people? What was that pinpoint, or what was that change? How
That's
did
a
that
good
change
point.
happen?
Yeah, I actually forced myself.
You just forced
I
yourself to go.
forced myself to do it
Okay.
Why did you force yourself to do it?
because I was so bad at interviews.
Right.
And I just thought, okay, yeah, this must be something that I can learn how to do.
Yeah.
So I started. Okay, so when I came here, crisps, the word crisps, I couldn't pronounce the word crisps.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, and for some reason I just couldn't pronounce the word crisps.
Okay.
And like for a year, I just practiced looking in the mirror how to pronounce the word crisps. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, people can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Of course.
So I just learned how to do it.
Wow.
And when it came to interview, I'm like, okay, I'm not good at this. And I remember the very first interview I went to, this was in Malaysia, right? I didn't know what to do. I didn't really know myself at that time. And I've got like these two beautiful Indian friends, like beautiful Indian friends. I mean, like literally when we were crossing the road, cars would stop for them. That's how beautiful they
Really?
are.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to this interview. Would you help me? Like, what should I wear and what not? And one of them, they're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll take you shopping. And they bought. So I ended up buying this white shirt, but it was lacy, and it was quite transparent. I felt so uncomfortable. But I thought, okay, yeah, they must know better, right?
Yeah.
They know what's good for me. So I just went to the interview wearing this, and I felt so self-conscious, and I could see that the guy in front of me couldn't concentrate. I just thought, never doing that again. And I remember leaving the interview, went home and threw away the shirt.
Oh.
Because that's just not me.
Right.
That's not me as a person. So you have to be yourself,
Yourself.
firstly. Yeah, interviews, you have to be yourself, because that does come across.
Yeah.
Strangely, I got that job as well.
You got that
I
job.
actually got
The guy
the
must
job.
have really liked
You
it.
like the shirt,
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, but you have to be comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
But this goes back to loving yourself.
Yeah.
Once you love yourself, it comes across. But there's a lot of things that you can learn. It's a skill that you can learn.
Of course.
And life is like that. I mean, like things like, okay, there's skills and talent, right? Like singing, you can't sing. Right? That's a talent, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of things you can learn. So yeah, so how I became from an introvert to where I am now is just through practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a really interesting perspective and outlook, because I don't know, it might be that at least I grew up thinking that, if you are this kind of person, you will just be
that
kind of
person.
You evolve as a person.
Yeah.
You can really grow as a person. So you say that you like to read personal development books.
Yeah.
The more you read, you realize that you suddenly grow into someone that you wouldn't even recognize.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You find this. Yeah. You won't even recognize yourself in a year's time. Like so much can happen in a year.
That's
You
true.
continue working at it.
Yeah. I do really love reading self-development books. Like I don't
And
know.
podcasts and motivational reads.
Yeah.
Who do you read?
I read
Rodrigo, you have to answer.
No. Is it like no offense to the readers, but I don't know, like to the audience, but I don't know the authors. I only know the title. So like I've read okay, I know this, James Clear, because
I have been saying that to her. Atomic Habits, it's such a good book.
yeah, Atomic Habits. I've read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, that's very good too.
Yeah, that's one of my. I still remember
I didn't like that one. I like How to Win Friends and Influence People a lot more than that book.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Uh,
Personal recommendation, I know.
Yeah, I know you've been reading that book. The book that I've been reading now actually talks about Adler's philosophy that is also embedded in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and how to
Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
Good book for networking, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one of the first books I bought when I decided to start networking is How to Talk to People in 90 Ways.
Is that a book? How to talk to people in 90 ways?
Okay, maybe I made up the 90 ways. But how to talk to people in so many ways.
We're butchering all the titles here.
I'm like you, like I'm terrible with names. I'm terrible with titles. That is like one of the things that my friend joke about me. I can never remember titles.
But you recommend that book?
If talking to people is a problem.
Yeah.
There's so many books out there.
Yeah.
That you can read.
I mean, we can definitely list a few of the books that we personally read. Like
Yeah,
in
the
comments.
comments,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also like no age to learn. I think a lot of people, like, especially me, I was like, I'm 23 now, I can't go back and learn this. But like, that is like anyone can learn at any given point in life. And like,
Sure.
there's just so many classes happening today. My
Mhm.
mom's like learning makeup at 45.
I
and,
love that.
You
I
know,
really
so
love that. Yeah.
there's no reason. That's what I've realized like very recently, that I can go to another school today and like start something very differently. That's
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
alright.
Recently, I went to a cooking class.
Oh,
what
The
was it?
Jamie Oliver cooking school.
The Jamie. Okay.
That's
okay.
very
I
famous.
love-
That's very
Yeah, so I love Jamie Oliver. I mean, when I came to England, I couldn't cook at all because back home you've got
Yeah, no, I don't know.
yeah, I can never cook. I don't know what to do. Like for 6 months, all I ate was rice porridge
Really?
because I didn't know how to cook. Right, and I'm a student, so I can't afford to eat out. Okay? So all I ate was like rice porridge for 6 months, and I thought, okay, I need to learn how to cook now
Yeah.
because
I'm
I'm
bored of
staying-
rice and porridge.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so Jamie Oliver was one of the chefs that I follow.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, yeah, let me do it. Let me try this. So I went into a Spanish class, how to make paella.
Oh, I love it. I had it in Barcelona for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
It's-
really good.
And apparently, when you stir your chicken, you mustn't stir it too much because otherwise you will release moisture, and that's bad for paella.
Right.
Good tip.
You see, you always learn something new, right? I didn't know that. Like when I make it at home, like, I stir it to death. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stir fry style.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Honestly, you cook really good food.
I do, but when I first came to London, I didn't know how
Oh,
to
really?
cook at all as well. I still remember like my first week of uni, right? My friends came, and then so I didn't live at Chapter, which was the
Student accommodation.
Okay.
that was nearby our uni. I lived at a separate one, which is 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
So not many of our uni friends went to that accommodation, and so I cooked for my flatmates at that point, and the chicken was still raw. And guys look at me like, the chicken is raw. Are you sure you cooked it properly? I'm like, yeah. But don't blame me if you get a stomachache tomorrow.
You can actually poison someone.
No.
Raw chicken.
Thank God nobody had a bad tummy
Yeah.
the next day.
Yes. But yeah, I think don't put so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Learning is limitless as well.
Yeah, and be willing to fail. If you're not failing, it means you're not
Learning.
You're not learning. It means that you're not pushing yourself.
Yeah,
You're setting a glass ceiling.
that's true.
And if everything is happening right in your life, then there's nothing much happening. in your life.
Exactly.
So we are doing something in my life, like
For
in our
sure.
life, maybe that's what I'm
Yeah, I mean, I always tell my girls, like fail often,
Mm.
fail fast,
Yeah.
but fail forward.
Yeah. I think that was what David taught us as well.
Episode 2.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
difference between like people who earn as successful and people who are successful. That difference of what makes a person successful. That what do you call it? That shade over there is failure.
Yeah.
Like for to be successful, you need to fail multiple times. But like you said, fail quick, fail fast, and fail forward.
Yeah. Most importantly, that you can fail. Just don't repeat the same mistake twice, obviously. But but fail. Fail as much as you can. Because if you're failing, it means that you're trying. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Doing new
You're
things.
exploring, doing
Yeah.
new things.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have almost come to the end of this podcast. It's been a wonderful session. I think it was a very genuine conversation.
Yeah, I didn't even feel like we were like doing it. I just felt like we were just having a nice chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are really good at this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No worries, we'll use this. No.
Oh, it's good that
Oh,
you're
yeah,
accepting the
don't
compliment.
stop.
You learn fast.
Oh, okay, so I'm fast.
Wow. Just 45 minutes.
This has been 45 minutes. I've been learning. Thank you. No, but still, thank you so much
You're
for
most
coming.
welcome.
I think before we end the podcast, we have a question for all our guests that we've asked, and I think we tailor it differently. So I think for you, right, you have I would say you are pretty successful in you're the day and age today. You have 2 lovely daughters who you've successfully raised and are in university right now.
Thank
You yourself having 2 businesses as a successful woman entrepreneur. I think it's something that I'm very inspired
Oh,
by.
thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, but if you could give one advice to people in their 20s who are lost right now, who want to be successful and want to chase that success, what is that one advice you could give them?
Don't be afraid to fail. I think that's the one thing that that holds people back is
Yeah.
the fear of failure.
Right.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to fail.
Like, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly.
If you fail, no big deal.
Yeah. Be authentic. Be yourself. Is also very important.
That's lovely. And that's such a great way to wrap up the episode today.
Yes, thank you so much, Cindy.
You're most welcome.
love you so much. Thank you so much for coming all the way down here to do this with us.
Oh, you're
We
welcome.
literally, I think we spoke about so many everyday things, but in different lights, different perspectives. And if people already knew this, it's just a good reminder for everyone to just learn these things again.
Yeah.
And just about your journey, about how you have worked a lot on yourself
Yeah.
to reach where you are, and you have tried multiple things. I think that one thing that struck me was somebody said they want to go to Australia for the beach, and you actually just went for it. And honestly, no matter how it
Yeah.
sounds, but
It does sound a bit mad when I think
very
about it.
few people have the courage to just go for things. And for
Yeah.
me, that is just so inspiring. That if it did not work out, oh well, I can always go back to London. The door is not closed. I'm going to Dubai. For me, it was oh my god, just give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? If you fail, you come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is just so inspiring, along with so many other things. So thank you for
You're
coming
most
out and
welcome.
sharing this with everyone. That's
thank
not
you so
me.
much for having me. Thank you.
But this is the very end of Let's Unwind season 2, episode 6.
Yeah, and thank you all for watching. Once again, if you have watched to the end, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. And we'll link up Cindy's contacts, tours, everything downstairs. Not downstairs, but in the comments, in the description.
They understood.
Not in the lobby.
God knows what time on a Monday, and she's literally come back all the way from work, so we're all very tired.
Yeah.
That was the very, very end. Thank you so much for tuning in, always. If you've watched till the very end, we're very, very grateful. Tell us how you feel the episodes are going so far, and what has been your key takeaway. We'd love to hear it from you and what got to you.
Yeah.
But that is the very end. See you in the next one. Much love.
We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.